My wife and I are in the messy middle. These times are crazy. What advice do you have to organize life and get through this season?
What's that funny acronym people say? HODL? What is it? How do I say?
Hold on for dear life.
That's it. Just grab on. Oh man, Brian, let me give you some solace. So you asked, what advice do we have to organize life and get through the season? Man, it's hard because like when you're in a tornado, what advice do you have? Man, you just got to figure out sometimes it literally is, how do I survive this thing? But you're not alone. And this is what I found, and this is the counsel I give. There's a lot of folks that are in the messy middle, and there's a lot of folks that go through the messy middle, and it's not easy. You have 1,000 different things pulling you in 1,000 different directions, and all of a sudden 1,000 different unknowns fall on your plate. You don't have any money left over. You don't have any time left over. You're exhausted, and you just have all this different stuff going on. So what you have to focus on is what's the very best next decision I can make. And sometimes that decision might be, hey, I'm not going to shut off the Roth funding. Hey, I'm not going to pull money out of the emergency fund to do this thing that I want to do. Or, hey, I'm just going to keep my head down. Hey, I'm going to make sure I got a pay raise and I'm going to save an additional 2% into my 401k. Sometimes you just have to focus on making the very best next small marginal decision until you can get through it. Because a lot of people, they get in the messy middle like, oh, my financial life was an absolute disaster. How do I fix it all? And unfortunately, it's going to be really hard to try to fix it all. So you got to try to fix one small thing at a time. And one of the ways that we want to help you do that, Brian, can you hold the thing up? We have the financial order of operations that even as you're going through the messy middle will help you stay true. Okay, I was doing great and then something happened. And then I was doing great and then something else happened. If you can use that as your barometer, as your litmus test. Is that right? If you can use it as your brace to make sure that you are staying on the line that you should be staying.
Your compass. You're navigating.
If you can use it as your compass, let's do some more analogies. If you can use it as a tool to make sure that you know you're not getting too far off course, there's a very high likelihood that your future self, when you come out of the messy middle, when you get to the back end of it, you say, man, I'm so glad I did not deploy some permanent solutions to temporary problems, like stopping my savings rate, racking up credit card debt, borrowing more money than I should have, making negative financial decisions I'm going to pay for decades that maybe I could have avoided if I would have just stayed the course and kept my head down through the messy middle.
Brian, I would share, break the illusion. So many people out there currently, I think because of social media, they think everybody's doing great and you're the only one in the world that's struggling because you're looking at everybody's highlight reel. I mean, when you look at Instagram, when you look at any type of social media, people aren't being real with you. They're telling you kind of their highlight reel of how great their life is. And that's why we did a show. YouGov had this survey that said how many people that made $500,000 versus how many people made $1 million, and the percentages of what the public thought were crazy. I'm talking 20.
1 in 5 thought
it was like
20+%
on $1 million, and that, meanwhile, that's like 1% of 1% or something. Mm-hmm. It's like nothing. There's not many people doing that. So I want you to know, Brian, everybody is struggling through what you're going through. I want you to embrace this messy middle where you're short on time, you're short on money. Know that there are more people just like you than there are not, despite what social media is saying. And Bo is exactly right. Each decade of your life is going to have its own special sweetness, even if it's a struggle. And I want to encourage you, don't give up on still following the financial order of operations, but also don't give up on bedazzling your basic life and still making memories. Nothing says you have to go book airfare for 5 to go make memories. You can do road trips. Yep. You can do all kind of crazy things, national parks. There's lots of ways to embrace the moment and still maximize it, both from the financial planning goals as well as from the memories. And I don't mind my experience sharing. I put this in Millionaire Mission, and I've shared it on the show a bunch of times. Even in my trajectory through life, I didn't feel comfortable with money until I got to be 42, 43 years of age. And that's with making lots of good decisions, but also going through the messy middle of moves, starting a business, changing jobs. There's all kind of things that put me in my own messy middle. Embrace that there's a whole community of us, and probably more of your peers are struggling through this. It's just that we're not always honest with the people around us, because in this new modern world, we all kind of fake it until we make it. And I'm saying throw that out, break the illusion, and just realize it's going to be hard. But even this, you will look back on just like a good country music song, and you're going to say you're going to miss these years where, yeah, maybe you were short on time, maybe you're short on money, but there's going to be its own special sweetness. Because I even share that in the book, is that my happiest time in childhood was actually when my dad was unemployed and money was the hardest it was for my parents. And that's probably, there's something to be learned for you on that, to make sure you're not squandering the memory part of this, even when money's tight.